Yes, we're live and we're counting down to the close. We have that the S&P is up by 102.74 points, which is a gain of 2.7%. Nasdaq up 2.78%, a gain of 311.13 points. Let's see whether there's any readout here. Okay. Crude oil has gained 2.99%, gold down 0.09%, 10-year treasury notes down 0.31%. Let's see what this readout here is saying. Says the major indices are sitting near session highs. The Nasdaq up 2.7% has a slight performance edge over the other indices at this point. The energy futures settled the session on a mixed note. WTI crude oil futures rose 3.3% to $107.65 per barrel. Natural gas fell 0.6% to 6.22 British thermal units. Unleaded gasoline futures rose 3.3% to $3.78 per gallon. Separately, treasury yields settled near their highs of the day. The 10-year note yield was up 6 basis points to 3.13%. The 2-year note yield was up 5 basis points to 3.06%. Let's see what this guy's here saying. Okay, pretty much the same thing. Read that already. Okay, the three main indices haven't made big moves in either direction recently. Okay, that was then. Okay, things have since continued to move on. Treasury yields and energy futures settle mostly up. Let's see, that was about 45 minutes ago. This was written 45 minutes ago. So let's keep on reviewing what's going on. We have tough build. Let's see where it's trading. Tough build, TBLT. We had a target of 3.19 and 3.18 and 3.31 thereafter. Okay, still around where we left it a couple of hours ago. Yes, at some point our target 3.18 almost got there. That target was almost reached. The other target 3.31 looks a bit ambitious. Okay, let's see what the technical readout is saying for tough build. Nothing so far, nothing of late. No news yet, no news still. It's not optionable. So our target was almost met. Our first target of 3.18 was almost met, but almost pretty much did. So, but the second one 3.31 hasn't come into play yet. Obviously before now, yes, that was the case, but we had that target before, after it had retraced. So right now it is just hovering around its this resistance of 2.81, which was a support before, what is currently a resistance, as it is below it now. So let's move on to BNTC. MITQ 5x5. Okay, we had a target of 2.1. No, that target wasn't reached. No, wasn't reached at any point in time. The gain is 72.86%. Let's see whether there's any technical readout. Okay, an inverted hammer was an event that was that formed yesterday. What does this say? What is it saying? So it tells one, the recent decline is approaching its bottom as the balance between buyers and sellers evens out, and there's an attempt, though few, at higher prices. The inverted hammer appears during a downtrend with the longer upper shadow reflecting an attempt higher and an attempt at higher prices, and a small real body at the lower end of the range, reflecting an evening out of the balance between buyers and sellers. As the bears have lost some control, the price may have reached the bottom and ready to turn higher. So this was yesterday. Let's see whether we can see it on the static chart. BNTC. Today price crossed above the 50-day moving average. Yesterday also reached a 52-week low. Let's see what happened there. Okay. Okay, this does not reflect that enough, but in any case, okay, let's see whether we can change this to candlesticks. Too tiny for us to see. Let's take it back to lines. It's line. Okay, short-term bullish is the opportunity type at the moment. Halted twice. Optionable. 93.867 million shares have crossed the tape so far and counting. Okay, let's move on to a WRAP. We had a target of $2.8. Did it get there? No. Let's look at BOXD, boxed, up 29.61%. We had a target of 2.41. Yes, that target was reached, and at some point it was reached, and it was reached and crossed severally. So that's the one we got. But right now it has pulled. It's currently below that target, 2.32. $48 million shares have crossed the tape for boxed. MITQ. Moving image technologies. We didn't bother with any target on this one. Okay, let's look at MULN. MULN down 0.34%. So we're counting down to the close. We have about 2 minutes. Okay, we're counting down. The market has closed, I believe. Yeah, the market has closed. So we will wait here and see whether we're going to get any summary of what happened. Energy stocks extended their midday advance this afternoon with the New York Stock Exchange sector index rising 2.6% in late trade, with the SPDR Energy Select Sector ETF XLE up 1.9%. The Philadelphia Oil Service Sector Index was posting a 5.3% advance, and the Dow Jones US Utilities Index was adding 1.8%. West Texas Intermediate crude oil was $3.35 higher at $107.62 per barrel, while Henry Hub natural gas futures fell 0.02% to $6.26 per 1 million British thermal units. In company news, Northern Oil and Gas added 1.9% after seeing late Thursday the investor who holds warrants issued by the company as part of the acquisition of Reliance Marcellus has agreed to cancel those securities in exchange for Northern common shares. Okay, we have more here. Okay, energy stocks climbed on Friday, that's today, as crude oil gains. Energy stocks extended their midday advance this afternoon with the New York Stock Exchange index rising 2.6% in late trade, whilst the SPDR Energy Select Sector ETF XLE was up 1.9%. Okay, West Texas Intermediate crude was 3.35 higher at $107.62 per barrel, while Brent crude was advancing 2.92 to $112.97 per barrel. Henry Hub natural gas futures fell 0.02 to $6.26 per 1 million British thermal units. In company news, Northern Oil and Gas are dead 1% after saying late Thursday the investor who holds warrants issued by the company as part of the acquisition of Reliance Marcellus has agreed to cancel those securities in exchange for Northern common shares. The company has repurchased 110,534 of its outstanding 6.5% Series A convertible preferred shares for $2.5 million, along with $8.4 million of its 8.125% senior unsecured notes due 2028 at 97.7% of their face value. DTE Energy gained 2.4% after the electric utility kept its quarterly dividend steady at $0.885 per share. Sempra Energy gained 2.1% after the electricity and the natural gas utility said the California Public Utilities Commission has approved its plan to build 4 energy storage microgrids near San Diego and adding around 39 megawatts in storage capacity beginning next month. Epsilon Energy climbed 6.4% after the natural gas oil producer date Thursday, said CEO Mike Bradley will step down on the 30th of June and will be succeeded by Jason Stabell, who was the chief executive at privately held MULN International until its March 2019 acquisition by London-listed SOCO International, SOCO International. The company said Lynn Bond will retire as chief financial officer at the end of the month and will be succeeded by Andrew Williamson, who was MULN's former CFO. United Airline pilots are set to get multiple pay raises and paid maternity leave until a tentative 2-year deal approved by the carriers' pilot unions. Union leaders, the Airline Pilots Association, said on Friday, under the terms of the agreement, pilots will get 3 pay rate raises totaling more than 40.5% through the end of next year, retroactive to the start of 2022. The deal also includes a new 8-week paid maternity leave benefit, better overtime and premium pay, a new retirement plan, and improved scheduling provisions, among other benefits. The union, which represents roughly 14,000 United Airlines pilots, said the deal will generate an additional $1.3 billion in value for pilots over the 2-year period if ratified. This agreement raises the bar for all airline pilots and leads the industry forward, according to Michael Hamilton, chair of the union's United Airlines pilot group. United Airlines is the first major U.S. airline to strike a deal with its pilots on a new contract, with other carriers expected to follow suit, among protests from pilots demanding higher pay and improvements in fatiguing schedules in the wake of staffing shortages. So MULN up 0.68%. Is there any news? Yesterday there was some news. Okay, yesterday, Thursday, day 23rd of June, it said the company said 2022 has been an exceptional year for them so far. They are proud. They are very proud of the immense effort of the MULN team. MULN has made significant progress in a number of key areas, according to David Makery, CEO and chairman of MULN Automotive. Recent highlights and accomplishments: MULN's solid-state polymer battery cell was successfully tested for the second time at Battery Innovation Center in Indiana. The follow-up testing from an accredited facility shows promise for solid-state polymer cell technology when scaled to the vehicle park level and used in EVs. MULN delivered its first EV van under a pilot program to a telecommunications provider in the southern part of the US on the 12th of May 2022. The company has requested certain van modifications in support of their anticipated use. The van has picked up and is currently being modified to fit the specs required by the customer in anticipation of a vehicle purchase order, including an upgrade to 800 kilowatt battery pack. MULN expects to join the Russell 2000 and 3000 indexes on Monday the 27th of June after the market opens, according to a preliminary list of additions posted by FTSE Russell on the 3rd of June 2022. The company's stock will be automatically added to the appropriate growth and value indexes. MULN reached an agreement subject to approval by company shareholders to secure $275 million in additional funding for the company. If shareholders' approval is obtained, it is anticipated that a portion of the funding will be used for the EV cargo van class 1 to 4 program, the 5 EV crossover, and the 5 RS high performance vehicle program development. MULN's partnership with LGG Lenghang Gochuang Group is on track, with both parties jointly scaling solid-state polymer battery cell technology with the objective of moving from the individual cell level to the vehicle pack level. Solid-state polymer batteries are envisioned for the second generation of the MULN Automotive MULN 5 EV crossover. MULN began with retrofitting the existing high voltage facility in Monrovia, California, for the production of EV battery pack development to support the MULN EV programs. National strikingly different test drive tour events have been announced for fall 2022, and MULN will visit over 15 cities across the US. Development of the MULN 5 RS, a high-performance version of the MULN 5 EV crossover, has commenced and will be joining the MULN 5 test drive tour in early 2023. So those were some of the updates. So the market has been closed for 50 minutes now. double moving average crossover, short-term bullish opportunity that occurred yesterday. The price is generally in an established trend, bullish or bearish, for the time horizon represented by the moving average periods. Moving averages are used to smooth out the volatility or noise in the price series to make it easier to understand the underlying trend. By plotting the moving average price over the last several bars, the line is less jerky than plotting the actual prices. In the double crossover method, a bullish event is generated when a faster moving average crosses over a slower moving average, which occurred. In this state, the price is likely in an established uptrend. The opposite is true when the faster slips below the slower moving average, triggering a bearish event. So that happened yesterday with MULN. Let's see MULN on this chart. So that's the crossover that happened yesterday on this daily chart. The 10 period moving average crossed over the 20 period moving average. Let's see whether that was recorded on the 3-day chart. Yes, it picked up yesterday. Let's see. Okay, that should happen today. Let's see. Yesterday, did it happen? Yes, see when it happened. It happened by at about 1:20 1:15 p.m. yesterday, the 23rd of June. But before that time, a crossover to the downside also occurred around 11:27 a.m. Okay, U.S. equity benchmarks closed higher today as an inflation expectations gauge showed signs of easing versus prior estimates, while St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank President James Bullard played down the possibility of a recession. Dow Jones climbed 2.7% to 31,500.68, while the S&P 500 was up 3.1% to 3,911.77, and the Nasdaq Composite was 3.3% higher at 11,607.62. All sectors posted gains led by materials. The US 10-year yield rose 6.4 basis points to 3.13% up after touching 3.49% last week. WTI crude oil futures climbed 2.9% to 107.31% per barrel, but were still well below more than $120 per barrel reached earlier this month. Gold slipped 0.1% to 1,828.20 per troy ounce. Polestar lists successfully on Nasdaq today. SNDL gained 5.4%, 5.41%. Sundial gained 5.41, but down 1.31 now. S&P futures has since advanced to 3906. Where did it close? Where did the S&P cash close? Okay, 3911. So ultimately a gain of 3.06%. Okay, let's see whether we've got any readouts for the post market. Any summary of what happened today? Let's see whether we can find any interesting thing about Apple. Gain 2.45%, down 0.15 now. There will always be a lot of news. Apple will not challenge Maryland store unionization vote. Plans to bargain. A group of Democratic legislators on Friday, that's today, the 24th of June, urged the Federal Trade Commission to probe Apple and Google over allegedly unfair practices that allowed for the collection and sale of personal data. The Wall Street Journal reported the same day the two technology giants knowingly facilitated these harmful practices by building advertising specific tracking IDs into their mobile operating systems. The lawmakers reportedly said in a letter to Lena Khan, the chair of the FTC. The letter was signed by Senators Ron Wyden, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker, as well as Representatives Sarah Jacobs, according to the report. They claim that Apple enabled the tracking of IDs by default until recently, while Google still enables this tracking identified by default, and until recently did not even provide consumers with an opt-out, the journal noted. The FTC should investigate Apple and Google's role in transforming online advertising into an intense system of surveillance that incentivizes and facilitates the unrestrained collection and constant sale of Americans' personal data, the legislators were quoted as saying in the letter. Apple and Google did not immediately respond to the journal's request for comment. Okay, it's 8.452 million shares crossed the tape. Let's see what the top gainers on its option speed. The top gainer is the 123 calls for the 15th of July series. The stock market was able to hold on to its gains to break a 3-week losing streak for each of the 3 major indices. The market opened on a high note and quickly moved sharply higher before trading in narrow range for the rest of the session. S&P gained 3.1%, finished the week just above 3,900 level. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained more than 800 points, closing up 2.7%. The Nasdaq Composite was the best performer of the day, gaining 3.3%. Economic data released today contributed to the positive sentiment in the market as new home sales beat May expectations, while the final reading of the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey for June dipped to a fresh record low, but also showed that 5-year inflation expectations decreased to 3.1% from 3.3%. Buying interest today was broad-based, as evidenced by the Vanguard Mega Cap Growth ETF MGK closing up by a similar percentage as the Invesco S&P 500 Equal Weight ETF RSP was up 3.7% and 3.3% respectively. In addition, the Russell 3000 Value Index closed up compared to the Russell 3000 Growth Index, which we don't have those values. All 11 S&P 500 sectors closed in the green, with gains ranging from 1.5% as it concerns energy to 4.4% as it concerns materials. The transport stocks contributed to the outperformance in the industrial sector, with the FedEx gaining 7.2%, rallying past its 200-day moving average to a level not seen since early February after the company's above consensus guidance for financial year 2023 overshadowed a bottom line miss. Air carriers also outperformed today, with American Airlines gaining 7.1%, closing atop the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which gained 3.9%. The energy sector continued this week's underperformance, but gained a solid 1.5%. At some point, the gain was 3%, and it narrowed its weekly loss to 1.6%. The sector was boosted by crude oil, which climbed 3.3% to 107.65 barrels. To $107.65 per barrel. Treasuries finished a solid week on a lower note, with the 10-year yield rising 6 basis points to 3.13%, while the 2-year yield rose 5 basis points to 3.06%. New home sales in the US climbed 10.7% month over month in May to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 696,000 units, and the consensus was 595,000 units, from an upwardly revised 629,000 from an upwardly revised 629,000 units in April. On a year-over-year basis, new home sales were down 5.9%. The key takeaway from the report is that new home sales are counted when a contract is signed. The big gain in May coincided with some slippage in mortgage rates during the month, which likely spurred a rush of buying interest in anticipation of mortgage rates moving up again and pressuring affordability. Tellingly, sales in the high-priced western region were robust, as were sales in the south, the largest region for new home sales. The final University of Michigan Index of Consumer Sentiment for June dropped 5.0 from the preliminary reading of 5.02 for 50.2. The final reading for May was 58.4. The June reading compared to 85.5 in the same period a year ago, and it's the lowest reading ever on records dating back to 1978. The key takeaway from the report is the understanding that the weakening in consumer sentiment was broad-based across income, age, education, geographic region, and political affiliation, in large part due to inflation concerns. Monday's economic data will be limited to 8:30 Eastern US time, release of May durable orders and durable orders ex transportation, followed by May pending home sales. Okay, we call it a wrap, and thank you very much